Hello and welcome to the week ahead from the Financial Times in London. Here are some of the big stories we'll be watching this week. The US and South Korea meet to discuss North Korea. Colombians go to the polls for a new president. UK bellwether retailer Marks & Spencer faces uncertain results. French President Emmanuel Macron has talks with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on Iran and Ukraine. And Ireland votes on whether to lift a ban on abortion. South Korean President Moon Jae-in heads to Washington on Tuesday, where he'll meet with US President Donald Trump. Top of the agenda will be North Korea, which last week sparked a flurry of concern when it raised the possibility of cancelling a potentially historic summit with the US on June the 12th, where Mr Trump is due to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Singapore. Mr Moon's visit is aimed at sharing tips and strategies ahead of the highly anticipated summit and to keep talks on track, as his spokesperson made clear recently.
이와 관련해 상임위 위원들은 다가오는 북미 정상회담이 상호 존중의 정신하에 성공적으로 진행될 수 있도록 한미 간과 남북 간의 여러 채널을 통해 긴밀히 입장을 조율해 나가기로 했습니다.
Colombians are likely to buck the global populist trend in presidential elections this week and vote for a centre-right candidate from the establishment. Iván Duque, 41, a protégé of former President Álvaro Uribe, comfortably leads polls with 34% of the vote.
No queremos que en nuestro país lleguen las tentaciones del autoritarismo populista que arruinó a Venezuela y que se han convertido en el más burdo de los descalabros socialistas, cuya realidad es pan para hoy, hambre para mañana.
That lead is probably not enough for the youthful senator to win outright in the first round vote, but it's certainly enough to propel Mr Duque into the June 17th runoff. There, his rival will most likely be Gustavo Petro, a former M19 guerrilla and mayor of Bogotá, currently polling at 23%.
Nuestro proceso organizativo venía desde hace muy poco tiempo y, sin embargo, estamos disputando la presidencia de la República. Nuestra intención es que a partir de estos datos ya que tenemos, no solamente los sentimos muy positivos, sino que creemos que podemos ganar la presidencia de la República.
The often bitter electoral race has been polarised by President Juan Manuel Santos' controversial peace deal with the FARC, a Marxist guerrilla group, and the implosion of neighbouring socialist Venezuela. Sales of dresses and underwear used to be what concerned investors in Marks & Spencer, one of the UK's most famous retailers. To that, they can now add food. Retail correspondent Jonathan Ely has more on what to expect from their results this week.
Marks & Spencer's is perhaps the retailer that's closest to the heart of British people, so its fortunes matter enormously in the national consciousness. One thing we're looking out for is food sales. They have traditionally been a driver of growth at the store over the last few years. At the interim results in November, there was a slowdown in food. They're not opening as many new food stores, so it'll be interesting to see if that trend is better or worse since then. Another thing to watch, the mood music between the chief executive, Steve Rowe, who is a lifelong Marks & Spencer's employee, came up from the shop floor, and Archie Norman, the chairman, who joined last September. He's external, big reputation, veteran of many turnarounds, very widely admired, but he's very hands-on, very forthright, very opinionated. The two seem to be getting on so far. They made a big show of unity at the interims in November, but since then there have been quite a few management departures from Marks & Spencer's, so it will be interesting to see if their relations are still holding firm.
French President Emmanuel Macron travels to St Petersburg's International Economic Forum this week for a meeting with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. The encounter comes after US President Donald Trump's decision to pull out from the Iran nuclear agreement, and also following airstrikes by the US, France and the UK against the Russian-supported Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad. However, the EU is now more focused on salvaging the Iranian nuclear deal, notably with the help of Russia. The 40-year-old French leader has sought to become the favourite middleman between Mr Trump and Mr Putin.
Malheureusement, la nuit dernière, vous avez encore vu qu'il y avait eu des tirs entre Iran et Israël. Le risque est une escalade, une montée en tension. Soyons très vigilants pour éviter cette montée en tension. C'est le message que j'ai passé hier après-midi au président Rouhani lorsque je l'ai eu. C'est le message que je passerai au Premier ministre Netanyahou, au président Poutine, qui, dans ses déclarations de ces derniers jours, semble partager cet objectif de stabilité à court terme et éviter toute escalade.
And Irish voters go to the polls this Friday in a referendum to repeal the country's constitutional ban on abortion. The abortion question is one of the most contentious in the politics of a once strongly Catholic country that voted in 2015 to legalise gay marriage. but surveys suggest the campaign to remove the ban on abortion has a large but narrowing lead. And that's what the week ahead looks like from the Financial Times in London. Goodbye.